Scorpio, hi, come on in just in time for your Scorpio March 2020 reading. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who have just stopped by for the first time, welcome back to my subscribers. It's great to see you. I appreciate your interest and you belong to the best family on the net. All the subscribers, we all have a great time. And thank you also to those of you who have, since last month I made the announcement that I was doing personal readings now, psychic clairvoyant readings. Thank you for those of you who have had readings with me and who have booked. And thank you also for telling your friends about it, because I know that a few people have said that they were referred by you, and I appreciate that. And so if you would like to have a personal reading yourself, just check out the details in the description box and we can go from there. But today we're doing tarot, and we're going to have a good look at what the tarot has to say for you. I'm also going to use some playing cards, 3 playing cards at the end of the tarot section, and you might tell me in the comments whether the playing cards are something that you'd like to have at the end of the reading. So let's get things underway. Now I might use my pen to point out some of the imagery on these playing cards, because the cards are so good. They have gorgeous imagery on them and paintings, and the imagery is such that it evokes energy and messages from the realm beyond, and so if it's relevant I'll point it out at the time. Now there is the Hermit. There is the Ace of Earth. What do we have here? What's this? The 2 of Coins. Gee, that's interesting, isn't it? Look at that. I actually get very good results with this deck. Actually with both of the decks, to tell you the truth. So don't be surprised if they are. You find it to be very accurate for you. There's the 6 of Coins, the 2 of Coins. You've got the Ace of Coins, the 2 of Coins, and the 6 of Coins in a diagonal. Extremely interesting. And finally, what do we have for the Tarot? And there's the 7 of Coins. Lot going on with you in your material world this month. Now, let's also then, I said I would draw 3 cards from the playing deck, and I am a man of my word, and so there it is. There's the 6 of Hearts. There's the Ace of Hearts. And what else might there be? Well, you've come out. There's the 9 of Hearts. Very auspicious. Very auspicious, I've got to say. Now, let's go and see. Let's get into the vibe and see what they mean for you. Okay, Scorpio, here we go. Now, this looks particularly interesting for you, I think. Look at all these hearts cards here. Let's deal with this card first, which is the 2 of... what is it? Earth. 2 of Coins. You've got a lot of coins, lots of things to do with your standard of living here. Well, this picture here is, it's very reminiscent. This is the triumph of Mercury here in this coin. Here are these old guys, the elders, and here is a woman naked, peering into a very precious mirror. And below here we have a pen and ink, quill rather, and ink, and some other things. This is, I'm pretty sure, a depiction by the artist of the story that was in the book of Daniel in the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible, called the about Susanna in the book of Daniel. Now what happened is that, as the story goes, a fair Hebrew wife named Susanna was falsely accused by a couple of lecherous voyeurs who used to look for her in her garden. Now as she bathes in her garden, having sent her attendants away, these 2 old guys look at her, and when she starts to make her way back to the house, they accost her, threatening to claim that she was meeting a young man in the garden, right? And she was married at the time, remember? And they said that they're going to make this known that she was meeting a young man, which she wasn't, unless she agreed to have sex with them. Now she refused to be blackmailed, and she was arrested and was about to be put to death for promiscuity, when a young Daniel interrupts the proceedings and yells out that the elders ought to be questioned further to find out the truth of their story. Anyway, what happened was they gave different accounts as to the type of tree that she was supposed to have had sex with the young man under, one being a little tree, another one being a big tree. That is unmistakable what would have happened. And so it was clear that the elders had concocted the story, and then they were put to death. And so there you go. That's what that story is about. Very interesting. There's a good artist, this artist here, I think. I quite enjoy this deck as I'm just looking at the imagery of it. Look, this is the Lord of Harmonious Change for you. It is Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn, about the 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. Jupiter. Now, although this association of Jupiter and Capricorn is potentially inharmonious because Jupiter is all about expansion and Capricorn is all about conservatism and practicality. This high up on the tree, and I noticed that you've got the ace here as well, which is touching onto it. Because this ace is here and right next to the 2, this far up on the suit, I don't think that there is a problem with the fact that there is an inharmonious seeming astrology associated with this. In fact, I'm thinking what this is actually saying to you at the moment is to kind of go with the flow, that you will see movement, flux, having some sorts of ups and downs, growth through change, multitasking. I wouldn't be surprised if you had quite a heavy workload during this period, but the thing is that you'll be enjoying the work. And I think that what's going to happen is that you're going to find out about some welcome change that comes into your life, and don't you need that? So I think you need to go with the flow and trust in the process of change. And I don't think there's anything financially or materially set in stone just yet, because I've got this here, although I think things will move further along as we get down to this 6. I think it reminds you to make sure that your day-to-day affairs are in order. Now, I'm getting very much the feeling that this is for you, in this spread where it's appearing, a card of good management of your practical affairs and finances. Now, it might sound like a bit of a drag, but getting on top of bills and chores is as important as in pursuing the more important activities. I might now go to the ace, because the ace is crying out, and I've just mentioned it. So let's have a look at it here. Well, from a artistic point of view, here we have a young child, probably a cherub, given the wings that are here, blindfolded with the red ribbon. This large coin, and now this really coincides with my own view of this suit of earth, in that it talks about the variety and the complexity and the joyous diversity of life. Dripping from the coin are roots containing rocks and crystals, and look down here, a couple of sprouts have begun to grow. This is almost talking about the golden age of gold, because here we have a chest full of golden treasure, a naked queen and king who are enjoying a bunch of grapes together. Over here we have a child playing. This is a man playing a flute. Here is an ox, and you may be able to see this little lamb lying down with the ox. A couple of very fruitful trees here. This is, I assume, I'll just bring this down here for you a bit further. This is, I think, a depiction of the golden calf. And on top of the golden calf is this wreath, which is the headdress of the goddess of Hathor in ancient Egypt, who was the goddess of love. And through the middle of the wreath, you can see in the distance a sacred mountain. And it looks like a couple of, beneath this golden calf, a couple of naked teenagers, I suppose, playing and dancing around and enjoying themselves. This is really about the seed of the suit of earth, which is the seed of things which are coming towards you now. This is talking about, for you, new opportunities that are coming. It's talking about an increase in your standard of living, the beginning of something tangible, prosperity and growth, material abundance.
I think the seeds are in place now for improving finances, a promotion or a pay rise. Good luck. And interestingly, I think that what this is also saying to me is that there may well be the chance here for you of receiving some unexpected money, possibly even a gift of some sort. But you are about, I think this is saying is that you're about to get things underway, and it's the beginning of things for you. And this is saying to me, and let me just pull this out a bit so you can see it in the connection of the other cards. And what it's saying to me really is that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought becomes a word. Say it out loud. Words have power, and a word becomes an action. And if you are going to do it, start. And when you start, go all the way. Do it. Do it. Seize the opportunity that's heralded by this energy. Rejoice in it, and let no power on earth take it from you. Let's have a look at this card here, the Hermit. Hermit, what do you have to say to us? Well, here we have an old man who holds up a lamp. He holds up his lamp here like an hourglass. He supports himself with a staff, right? And the staff has on it 7 roses, and at the bottom, a snake. Can you make out the snake? There it is. There's the snake there. Now, the roses on his staff symbolize the 7 stages of growth from a bud to a fully open flower. The twisted snake bites its own tail, symbolizing eternity. Now, the hermit's hat is like those worn by the monks of Mount Athos in Greece, as is his gown, which I assume has been faded a bit by the sunlight, and underneath his undergarment here is something that looks like it's made from straw. Yeah. Now these boats in the bottom, and this looks like a whale. This refers to the Old Testament prophet Jonah, who was miraculously saved from drowning when he was swallowed by a whale. And if I'm not mistaken, his later preaching saved the city of Nineveh from the destruction by God. Now, as far as the astrology is concerned, I have Mercury ruling Virgo with Mercury exalted. He is the prophet of the eternal, the voice of the magus, of power. And I think what he's saying, look, this is really good astrology here, because Mercury also is exalted in Virgo in ordinary astrology. I think that you might become something of a mentor to somebody during this period. I think that you will find that you will enjoy learning new things and new skills. You will have a great degree of wisdom which you can bring. It's almost as if I think you will be finding your own light, in a way going inward, getting the sense of completion, also of harvesting things from things that you've done before and resting in your own center. I think that it's a case here that the energy that's coming up is saying that you may well be getting away from a situation in order to get a better insight into it. And I think you're becoming aware of something of which you were previously in the dark about. I think it is the case, I think, that maybe for a day or two you may spend some alone time and conduct some soul-searching and recalibration of your life. I'd have this thought in mind. I enjoy the feeling of completion and resolution. I will not compromise that which is important to me. I enjoy my aloneness because I can stop being alone whenever I feel like it. Well, what have we got? We've got a 7 of coins. Going along this coins theory here. We'll do the 6 after the 7, I think. Let's have a look at the 7. What do we have here? Well, here we have some gamblers at a table, and here is the winner here, and he's showering down the coins. This page of wands has thrown in some of his cards. I think these are the pages from the tarot deck. The page of wands, I think, has thrown down some of his cards, but I think he's a crafty player, and he probably has something else from up his sleeve. This is the page of swords, I would say, who's looking up, amazed at the money which is coming down here. Here we have the page of discs, I think, who's thrown in his hand and just despairing, I've lost everything. And the page of cups, I think, is saying, look, I've got a few more cards up my sleeve here, and so I'm going to add to it. So there it is, the tale of gambling and what comes and what doesn't. Now, in the coins themselves, here is a child sleeping. This is a chest full of gold. It looks like a soul in purgatory praying for release. This is the chariot of Saturn. Here is the moon. This is a lily. What can I get from here? Oh, there's a tree laden with fruit. Okay, now, astrology, I have Saturn in the 3rd decan of Taurus, the 11th of the 20th of May. Now, Saturn is slow-moving and restricting planet. It has something of a bad rap about it because Saturn also is about showing us the way forward and sometimes helping us to recalibrate and to get back on the path, because you know that when you come here to Earth, you have some things to do. It is ordained what it is for you to do. And so Saturn often pulls us back onto the path so that you can live the life that's intended for you now that your spirit has incarnated into flesh. But Saturn is slow-moving, and in some respects, on one view, restricting, and Taurus is a plodding fixed earth sign. Now together, Saturn and Taurus can be considered to have some degree of stagnation about it, so don't be surprised if there are some delays in payouts or getting payment from something. This is talking about a time of slow and steady growth, but it really does take off here. You may have to wait for some money or for things to get completed by other people. And it may be that you think that you are working through something of a dry spell at the moment. But again, I'm telling you that you have so many good things in store for you. It's a difficult period, perhaps, you might think, in your material affairs. You might kind of think that you put everything into something but haven't got a return on it. This can also include relationship, I think, because you'll recall that, when I talked about this card here, I was talking about it in terms of general lifestyle and things. And you may think that you've spent a lot of time and effort on getting things done with someone, but nothing's come back. Saturn can also partly give rise to fear, and fear can sometimes show up when we come to move into new situations, but we look back at the past and we say, oh, well, what happened in the past was it didn't work out, so I'm not going to try something new. The energy that's coming through here is that really you should be trying something new. You see, this is unmistakable that there are new things for you to do, and don't be held back by things that have been going wrong. But I will say this, though, that in a relationship setting, if you've tried everything possible, I mean really genuinely and honestly tried everything possible, and it hasn't worked out a particular relationship, then it might well be time to cut your losses. Well, let's have a look at this card. This is interesting. What does this have to tell us? Have a look here. Okay. Well, here we have the 6 of coins. And here's a stout-looking man holding a very big lance in these coins. What are the pictures that we have here? Oh, here is a miser sitting around there enjoying, just running his gold coins through his fingers. What do we have here? Can I see what it is? Oh, that's the chariot of Saturn. Here is a fool who's lost all of his money and is looking despondent, a fool who's got some money. Here is the picture of a flower in the shape of a mandala. Now, a mandala is a symmetrical artifact or painting that is used in Tibetan Buddhism to help concentrate the mind, to achieve meditation and connection with the divinity. And here is a rich man using scales, as you would have done back then, to weigh the gold or the silver to work out its value, doling out money to a poor man. Well, okay, the 6 of coins, what might we say about it? The 6s generally, for me, refer to bridging, going from one place to another. This is really I'll be frank, I call this card the Lord of Material Success. And the astrology of it is the moon ruling the 2nd decan of Taurus, the 1st to the 10th of May. Now, the moon is exalted in Taurus, also in ordinary astrology, which is a really good sign. But you'll remember that the moon is kind of transient in nature, isn't it? It waxes, it becomes full, it wanes, and then sometimes it disappears. And this is about success. So what this means to say is that success may be short-lived. But if you think about it, success isn't a continuum. I mean, you don't continue having a success. You have a success here, you have a success here, you have one there, and there. This is the card of success. Now, the moon in Taurus, well, the moon also likes nurturing and comfort, and Taurus likes material things, so they are well suited to bringing about material success for you. And I think that this is what's going to happen. I see success, I also see generosity going both ways, that is, both giving and receiving. I see you paying things forward. When you are going well, provide for others. I think there will be a financial boost of some description. If there are students who are applying for a scholarship, I think it's going to be successful. And if people are trying to obtain funding from the welfare system, I think that is also going to be successful. It could be that you're also involved in or the opportunity to become involved in a profitable adventure. But always get things in writing, is what I say, because sadly, not everybody in this world is honest. And this is a reminder for you to remember the successes of your life and build on those. There is going to be a desire for success with you, and the advice from Spirit is that you be willing to take risk, to be committed, trust your intuition. Have this thought in mind, though. My self-acceptance and self-confidence are the keys to real success. Let's have a look. Have we covered all those cards? I think we have, so let's have a look at these. Let's have a look at the 6 of Hearts. Yeah, this card I really call it's really about harmony. I think it represents bringing peace and harmony into everyday issues. It can represent compromising and the willingness to accommodate others. A new relationship can begin when this card appears. It's a time to overcome obstacles and move towards a goal. Now, what's also the case is, and I see it also was also talked about here, is that this may well be a time when other people want to confide in you, but be careful of people taking advantage of your good heart. And I also see with this card that there is very often a sudden wave of good luck. And we have here the Ace. Well, the Ace of Hearts, very much, I think, about homes. It can very often, for me, and when I do psychic readings for people, and depending on where it's spread in the spread and what messages are coming through, it can indicate a change of residence, possible change of residence, yeah. There may be a desire for affection or love. There could be a new relationship beginning, because aces are about beginnings. The thing is that aces are also about ends. And I think because of the heart image here, I think it really could mean the end of a dispute. Certainly, I wouldn't be surprised if there was good news coming to a family member or a friend, and it also speaks of the establishment of a home with a partner, and it's really good news for those who are in partnered relationships or in marriage. It can also refer to getting married, or you may hear of someone getting married. Definitely what it does as an overall message for you means problems lifting and also strength coming from a partner. Well, then we have the Nine of Hearts. Well, the 9 is, for me, the sacred number, and the 9s can mean the end of a cycle. It can mean the end of, and in this case it's to do with emotions or relationships. It can mean the end of a cycle or a change that's coming through, but it's not something that's going to be causing you any grief, because this is these hearts and the color red are really good here. It's about fulfillment. Something has finished or has been obtained. You've obtained something. But it can signal the ending of a relationship. It can also signify helping other people. But usually, this is for deepening love, the perfect spouse, and perfect children. The other thing which I'll say about this card is that it can very much often for me sometimes represent what I call the wish card. And that is, and I look to see the card before it, and in this case we're looking at this Ace of Hearts, and so one might say, I wish for this new beginning or new relationship, or I wish for happiness around the home, I wish for these things to do with my emotions, and this is saying that is probably going to be fulfilled. That's the way it is for you this month.
Well, there you go. March underway. Well, let me just say this, is that you were fantastic during that reading, and I really enjoyed providing it to you. I love providing these readings to you each month, and subscribe and become part of the family and belong. And let me just say this, and I want you to remember this always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, bye for now.